Okay, hey guys. I'm gonna click record. So a couple weeks ago, I did a video talking about how to experience more peace as a business owner. And one of the things I said was it's okay to take a break. Your clients will be there. Somebody on YouTube commented and asked, how do you know your clients will be there? And I thought, wow, that's a great question. So I am going to use this time today for the next 15 minutes or so to give you some strategies that you can employ that will help put your mind at ease for those situations. It got me thinking, like, how have I done that in the past? And there's three steps I want to focus on. So there's short term, midterm, and long term, because different types of situations can come up at different, for different reasons, right? And that's the whole point. It's an emergency. So we don't know what that it's happening ahead of time. So here's some things that you can do. On the short term side of things, that is a mindset shift, really. Or getting new clients, and I'll explain why in just a second. So, for the most part, clients, here's where I get this from. There was a book Darren Hardy wrote called The Compound Effect. Highly recommend it. I've read it many, many times. And in there, he says, people will treat you the way you teach them to treat you. And he gives this great story about, one of the friends in his friend group, how this guy was always late. And then he booked a time to meet with him at a coffee shop, and the guy was late. So Darren left. And then the guy shows up and he's like, hey, man, where are you? I'm here. He's like, I left. We were supposed to meet at this time. You didn't come. So I left. He's like, well, I'm here now. He's like, well, then we'll have to reschedule. So moving forward, that guy is on time for Darren all the time. He's always on time for Darren, but nobody else. Okay. Now, using that same mindset, that same concept, one of the things that I've experienced firsthand is making myself available to clients at a beck and call situation. And I recall I had this one client, I was doing social media management, and they were a media company. They had an app and they were a media company. And in their world, everything was urgent and immediate. And they wanted me to be at their beck and call. And I went through it with them. But then I found, like, one time we went on a vacation, we were camping, and I had to keep heading home every day just to check in. I'm like, this is insane. I'm not doing this. Like, I'm just not doing this. That's when I started transitioning my life and my clients and everything to that ability to be able to leave. And so here's what I would advise for you. Number one, pay attention to the habits you've created. If you're already in a situation where you've allowed clients to have access to you 24/7, or like sometimes what happens to me, I have clients that are on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. So they might be messaging me at 6 or 7 in the morning on their time, and I wake up to a message, and I don't want to start my day like that. So I put my phone on sleep mode. So I don't see any messages until 9 o'clock. Okay. And so that's and I will say they're used to that. And if they've ever said, oh, hey, how come you're not answering? I'll let them know after 9 o'clock. Like, my phone is set to not send me any messages until 9 o'clock. I'm available between these hours, and I'll message you back during those times. And again, people get used to it. So a lot of it in that short-term window is mindset and having the ability to set boundaries. If you're already in a pickle, and I'm going to give you a real life example. So in the solar company, and I'm sitting here right now in that office, um, the business partner that I have here, his name's Rick, and he was owning and running this company by himself before I came aboard and before he invited me into a partnership. And he has trained his clients to have access to him 24/7. He has his cell phone number listed on Google. He has it on his business card. And here it is, November, and it's dark and rainy and cloudy. And everybody who's living off grid is suddenly having power catastrophes. Like, they're not getting enough power from their solar panel, or their generator isn't kicking on. And it's like one drama fire after another. And he has a great heart. And so he's always felt like this sense of urgency to rush out to their house the minute they call him. In fact, even just a few weeks ago, he was having family time and a client called him in distress, and he took his family with them into the mountains to fix this guy's generator. And he's like, I got to have time. This is just not working out for me. And I said, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get you a new cell phone. It's your personal cell phone. So only me, his wife, and immediate family have access to it. It is not going to be public. No client will ever get this number. Number two, your work cell phone is going to maintain in your car during off hours or at the office. Okay. And we're going to set it up with a voicemail. And that voicemail will say, this is Rick. You've reached me. It's either after hours or I'm with a client. Leave a message and I'll get back to you within 2 business days, or call the office and you can talk to Lindsay. Or if this is an emergency situation, please refer to, and we're going to build on our website an emergency tutorial of what they can do to troubleshoot their system, because ultimately the fella he drove up into the mountains for, it was simply a minor issue that could have been resolved with that. Now, the downside is you got to think about these things. A lot of these clients are off grid, so they may not get internet access if they don't have power. So we can also have that as a cheat sheet to print and leave with them, so they could just run through those things when we're not, available. And then if they still have an emergency situation, they can leave a message and we can check the messages and we can choose who we want to respond to, or if we want to just do a phone call and see if we can't walk them through something over the phone. Eventually, as we build a team, maybe we'll have somebody on call. My point is, this is a real life example of a business owner who needs to drastically change and reset from mindset all the way through to strategy. And if that's what you need to do in your business, those are all really good action tools and steps that you can put into practice today. So number 2 is midterm. So recently, just last week, I was in a car accident. I got rear-ended, but thankfully it wasn't bad enough that I was sent to the hospital or anything, but I was uncomfortable. I felt awful. My mind wasn't clear. And then on top of that, I was dealing with insurance and body shop and all the things that you go through when you have an accident. So that was a midterm unexpected situation. I had made promises to people that I would get something done for them. And obviously I wasn't going to be able to get it done. So what I did is I sent them all a message and said, hey, I was in a car accident. And I reset those expectations. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is my plan. I will stay in touch as I go forward. So I didn't give them a new date of when I would have it done. I would just say, hopefully later this week, I'm going to start feeling better and I will let you know how it goes. Okay. And of course, everybody was like, I'm so sorry you got in an accident. No problem. We understand. But here's what I learned when I did customer relations in the car dealership. I was in the service department. Have you ever taken your car into the dealership? You drop it off and you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to pick it up later today, but they never call you to tell you your car's ready. So finally at 5:30, like the dealership is about to close at 6 o'clock, you're calling wondering what in the world's going on with your car. Well, your service advisor's like, oh yeah, the part we had to order, it's not going to get in until tomorrow. So we'll just have it ready for you tomorrow. And you're like, what? Dude, you could have told me, right? The number one complaint is lack of communication. So guys, when you're in a midterm situation or a long-term situation, just do communication. Now, maybe it doesn't make sense for you to, text everybody on your phone one at a time. I recommend a text solution like a CRM. This channel is sponsored by Biz in a Box Solutions, which is one of my businesses where we do system strategies. And in a situation like that, you can check boxes and send a simple message to all of the people. Now, it doesn't go out as a group text, so they're not going to see each other's information, but you don't have to individually text each one. So you click all of the names that you want to send it to, you type in a message, send a text, a bulk text is what it's called. Hey, I was in an accident. I know I've made some commitments. It looks like I'm going to have to reset that. I will touch base again in a couple days when I start feeling better and let you know where I'm at. Thank you for understanding. Click send. It will send the text message one off to each person, but you didn't have to do it one off to each person. Okay. So that's a solution there. All right. So the next one is long-term strategies. And this is truly where Emily and I help you the most, is with long-term strategies. In fact, one of her clients in Florida, has a business doing like home health for seniors, like senior aid, I guess. So these people are able to live alone, but they need a little extra help in some cases. Anyway, this client had a personal emergency and had to literally walk away from her business for like a month. Something catastrophic happened to a family member, and she just didn't have the mental bandwidth to even think about or be in her business at all. Luckily, she had worked with Emily and had all these systems in place. SOPs were written, standard operating procedures. Team members were able to step up and fill in where she couldn't. And they were able to just keep the business moving forward. Clients were not affected at all. And obviously, that's a bigger business situation. When you're in as a solopreneur, that's maybe a little bit harder, but it is not impossible. You can leverage technology to automate a lot. So, more recent example, my client who's an HTMA health practitioner, she's a solopreneur. And when she built her business from the beginning, she simply just was using her cell phone. People would call or text her and be interested in getting a hair test. She would ship the test off manually. Then she was carrying around in her brain, like, when is it time to check in with them? Did they send it in? And messaging them, hey, have you sent in your test? Carrying all that around is like a lot of stress. It got her to the point where she felt like she was so overwhelmed and busy, she couldn't take on new clients. So we streamlined a lot of her business and did kind of like a phase one approach where we worked together to give her back a little, like a lot of time, but it still wasn't enough. Then we were able to go in and build systems. Her business actually grew after phase one. She more than 10x her income and was able to manage it. Then with a phase two, she was able to afford a deep dive into more systems setup. So our team went through and built out automations. So when somebody orders that hair test, it automatically sends them the health questionnaire form. It automatically sends them the contract. It automatically sends them a booking link to get scheduled. And the booking link has its own automations. You know, if they don't book, there's an SOP for that. We wrote out all of her SOPs around all of the things that we were building so that if she brings in a team member, they can just fill in for her. So she even looked at it just the other day. She was like, wow, I realized that, you know, we had been talking about maybe she needed to hire an extra practitioner. She's like, I think with all these changes, I don't need to because this is freeing me up so much. I could keep working with people. And now we have a phase three approach. So I'll tell you what that is. And this, I'm telling you this, so hopefully you're getting some ideas of how you can set up some systems and strategies in your business. And if you want a little bit more systems and strategies, take our workshop, which I will link here. And it's free workshop. You can, we walk you through the steps of doing this for yourself, basically, like how to automate your business as much as you can. Anyway, so her phase three approach is she was finding herself saying the same thing to people over and over and over again. And as much as she enjoys helping people, she doesn't enjoy being a broken record. So I told her, I said, start making a video response and we'll set up a video library. So then that way you can either just link the video to them when they have a question, or you can certainly know some of the things in advance they might ask based on their situation and have some ready to go. So that'll be the phase three, which is going to save her even more time. It's fantastic. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I want you to please tell me, what was your biggest takeaway? Put in the note in the comments, what was your biggest takeaway? And is building out systems something that you would like help with? If so, head over to bizinaboxsolutions.com. That's with an S, solutions, and book a demo, and we can certainly talk through some options, and there's some done with you services and some done for you services either way. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in as always.